Hi, this is Colleen O'Connor. Thanks for joining me today. I am an intuitive life consultant and I help people with all areas of their life. And I do this using something called the Yuen Method technique. This is an energy technique created by Dr. Kim Yuen. And I help clients with all areas of their life. And what I wanted to talk to you about today was something I call the Wellness Hexagon. This is a principle of the Yuen Method, but it's also a principle you see in energy work in general, but also in any kind of wellness work that people do. And it's really the principle that we have all these different areas of our life, and we need them to be working in harmony together in order for us to create the things that we want in life. So I'm going to share my screen here. So the Life Wellness Hexagon has 6 areas. This includes your career, aging, fitness, health, relationships, and finance. So I'm going to pick one of these areas today and talk a little bit about some examples that I've had with clients and how this comes into play and why it matters. So we're going to talk about career. So let me give you some examples. I have a client who was launching a business while also having a job. And she was coming up against a lot of self-doubt, a lot of self-worth issues, a lot of anxiety and nervousness about launching the business, even though she was very competent, super qualified, really great at what she does. How did we resolve this? Well, the first thing is we looked at where was the actual weakness, where was the actual root of the issue? Guess what? It didn't start with the career. The first area that was actually an issue for her that was making things difficult for her was actually in relationships. And it wasn't in current time and space, it was issues with her parents and them with themselves and with each other, and then finally with her, and also the general family dynamic. So once we cleared up all the experiences that she had, all the mental, emotional issues from them, because they weren't actually stemming from her, then we were able to clear a huge part of what was going on for her. But it didn't stop there. So then the next level of things that came up for her had to do with her fitness. And when we talk about fitness, at least in this technique and on the level of energy work, it's not necessarily, going to the gym and how many reps you can fill. It's really about how everything in your physical body is fitting together, how everything is working, how everything is operating in conjunction with each other, how it's all fitting in. And are all levels of your body operating at their highest level? Are they completely turned on and switched on? In her case, what came up were a couple of physical traumas that she experienced that had affected her central nervous system. So her brain, her spinal cord, her nerves, and it affected the way that she could process information, perceive it, and then express what her perception of what was going on. So once we identified that, we were able to clear out all of that whole trauma on a physical level, even though we're doing it energetically and I'm not touching the person because I'm doing everything virtually, either by phone or by Zoom. But we clear that out of the nervous system. And then we reset everything and reconnected all the parts of her body with the nervous system so that the right brain and the left brain were communicating better. And that turned things on and created more stability in her system. So she felt calmer to then launch her business. So she had a very successful launch. She not only hit the goals that she had for her in terms of participation and financial the financial number of sales that she was getting. So she hit those goals and actually exceeded them. So this is just an example of the wellness hexagon at work, why it matters. It matters because if we keep approaching a problem from the area where the problem does not come from, we're not going to be able to resolve it. And then in fact, what happens is the problem will get worse. So that's why it's important to have the ability to identify what's going on at the root, at the beginning, because otherwise you're going to keep spending energy on hunting down the wrong lead, so to speak. You know, if you're solving a mystery and you watch a TV show where they're solving a mystery and they identify the wrong perpetrator, and then they realize that wasn't the person, it was somebody else. Well, we want to get from the beginning, we want to identify the right, correct area of life. So that's just an example of one person where it appeared to be a career issue, but it was not, or at least not initially. Now, we, through the course of the whole session, you know, by the end of it, there was probably like the last 10% or so of what we needed to work on was related to career, but I was at the very end. It was not the first thing. So that's why this is important, because we need to be accurate and correct on where things are stemming from so that we can actually have success with resolving it. And that's why this method, the Yuen Method technique, is so powerful, is because it really hones in on where the issue really lies. Because there's a couple of principles that I think are really helpful for those of you that are interested in energy work, is that in general, wherever or whatever the problem is, whatever you think the problem is probably not what's actually going on. That's sort of a story we get about a situation, but when we clear our mind, we get into our intuition and we feel into the situation with a neutral self, where we are detached from the situation, we're objective and neutral. That's when we can tune in and feel which of these areas, which of these 6 parts of the whole wellness hexagon, where the issue starts. And once we know where it starts, then we can just take it from there and clear each level. Another piece of this that I just want to point out that's really helpful to understand, again, with energy work, is that it's really important to get things in the right order, to identify the issues in the correct order and the correct sequence. Because as you could see from the example that I mentioned, there's many layers. There wasn't just a relationship issue, there was also a fitness issue, and there were other areas as well, but those were the main pieces that came up. Then there was career issues. But it's important to identify not only which aspect of it, but which piece comes first. So start with the proper root of the issue, and then feel into what is the order of the situation that things want to be resolved, because there's always these layers. You always hear people talking about issues that we have in our life being layers of an onion, and that's absolutely true. We want to get to the right layers at the right time in the right order in order to resolve whatever's happening. So that's what I have to say about the Wellness Hexagon for today. I'm going to do some more of these videos going over examples from each of the different areas. So I would love to hear from you if this was helpful, if you have questions. This is my first effort at making these videos, and I would love to hear feedback, because I want this to be something that is very useful and beneficial for all those that tune in and watch these videos. So I also want to make sure that you know that you can always connect with me at ccolleenoconnor.com. And here is my website. So I'm here if you have any questions. If you ever want to have a sample of energy work, I offer some free 20-minute sessions. And that's all I've got for now. Let me know how you're doing, and let me know how this has landed for you, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you.